Well, today I would say that the Chinese in general are not just concerned with bread and butter issue, rice bowl issue they call it. The Chinese are more concerned with what we call more intellectual things. Example is fairness, accessibility to education, fair and equitable accessibility to education, scholarships, questions like promotion, judiciary, crime. So these are the issues which do trouble the Chinese. And of course, when it comes to implementation, a very good example is this case where policies may look good, but when it comes to implementation, there are always a problem dealing with officer. A lot of Chinese businessmen feel that a lot of government officers have too much of discretionary power. And I've said it before, a very good example is liberalization on the various sectors of the economy. But certain government officers still impose, like for example, 30% Bumiputra quota on certain permits and license. And although the Prime Minister has promised that any further policy changes will not be top-down, but we still see that a lot are still top-down. And a classical example is this what we call a proposal to ban the import of second-hand spare part. I think there's a need to be more consultative in our approach, especially when it comes to implementation and introducing new policies. Of course, this is still relevant. It's easy to say it's not relevant. Today, if we are not in the government, who is going to address all these issues? We just have to fine-tune. And we have confidence that under our Prime Minister, who is a good listener, that the policies of the government will slowly be reflective of the wishes of the riot. Perkasa is just set up only very recently, and it is not even in the government. And if Chinese react very negatively towards Perkasa, we can imagine that. But they should not react negatively to the government because Perkasa is not in the government. Perkasa is just an NGO run by one independent MP. And it's not reflective of the Barisan National government. And we have already said very clearly that MCA will not respond even to Perkasa. Or Perkasa as an NGO can campaign for anybody. To me, it does more harm than good, especially in a Chinese community area. You see, if I want to be personal, Datuk Ibrahim Ali lost in 1999 election. He lost in a Malay majority seat. At that time, I'm sure he would have said that Malays are not grateful to the government. So I think the Chinese are overreacting to what is an NGO. And the more we react, the more dignified he is. And the more important he becomes. And we should not fall into this trap.